It's the season finale. It's the season finale. You guys, it is the season finale, and we are continuing the script series. We are switching the narratives our generation has back to where they should be. As always, we are keeping it real and honest. This conversation, most definitely, I know for a fact, will be a good one. So, enough of me talking. I'm ready, and I know my co host. Is it okay? Somebody asks, is it okay to seriously date an ex's friend or best friend? Ooh, anybody want to go first?
I always want to go first because I already know how I feel. Let's run it back one more time. Is it okay to date an ex's friend or best friend? Just making sure I'm comprehending.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, girl.
let's keep it real because I feel like everybody on here is 20 and up, correct? Even for my babies that's watching at 16 or however old you are, it is never okay. Let's stand on principle. If we're really dating, I'm gonna speak to people my age. When you're dating, you're not interested in who is friends with the person that you're dating. Like me personally, okay, if you got eyes to that person, okay, we could be real about it. Sometimes maybe you pick wrong, right? Okay. But realistically, you shouldn't have eyes for anybody around that person, especially if you're dating for a reason. If you're dating because like, hey, I really like this person, I can see myself growing with this person. You're not really looking like what's around them. So in my eyes, no. Like, why would you even be interested in what's attached to them? Me and my friends don't like the same type of guys. You get what I'm saying? So, I personally say no. It's not okay.
Oh, anybody disagree or agree?
I would say a lot of people have a very firm stance on this question. And I think over time, my opinion has changed. I would say that it's something like I'm not one to judge whoever anyone wants to date, but if you're going to date your friend's, your ex's friend or whatever the case, I would say consider that you are who you hang around. And
Ooh.
your ex is an ex for a reason, and they're your ex's friend for a reason. So be careful trading your ex for your ex in a new pair of skin. I'll just say that.
Oh, anybody else? Jesus. Anybody else? Lord have mercy. Anybody else? This get
Can I,
good out here.
can I piggyback off of him just real quick?
Okay.
I just want to say that sometimes that can be true. I seen a post earlier today, and it's like sometimes birds of a feather do not flock together. I still made my stance. Like I don't, because okay, you have to put it into the perspective of if you're that friend, that means you're willing to backdoor your homeboy or homegirl. But I will say that sometimes we just don't have the best quality of we have good quality friends, but they're just not the best at dating. But it doesn't excuse the next person. Or it doesn't dismiss the next person. They may not be the same.
Mm, mm. Anybody else?
Okay, I would like to say this. Now, no, me personally, I would not date like an ex of my friend. I just wouldn't do that. But I do want to, keep an open mind to people in this situation. Whereas, okay, for an example, before you may get in a relationship with your ex, you all may just all be friends, right? And so
Mm.
all start off as just being friends. Your mind not really just going like, oh, this is the person I want to be with. You just end up being with one of the friends out of the group, knowing that you had a friendship with everybody. So when that particular person didn't work, some people mind may go on, okay, let me see about this person or that person, because first you all have started off all as friends, not just, okay, I saw this guy out or I saw this girl out and that's now my boyfriend or my girlfriend. I know situations that may happen. Also, for the ones that did start it off as, oh, I saw you out, that's why you became my boyfriend or my girlfriend. And the one that may go with the friend, I would say, suit you, because I do understand, like, people just click. So if you just click, you just click it. That's the best thing, that ever happened to you. Just, do you. But me personally, I just wouldn't do it because you would still have to be around that particular friend unless, that, your new person is willing to not be friends with them again and outgrow them. I just wouldn't do it. But those things have happened. So I would say if that have happened, then, you do you.
Oh, anybody else? Anybody else? Come on, don't be shy. Anybody
So,
else?
so I will piggyback off of that what you just said. I will say me, but to answer your question, I wouldn't do it. But I will say from point of view that you do need to be careful if you date an ex's friend because there are some people in this world, exes wise, that can feel real jealous or real bitter just because oh, she's talking to my friend. Why is my friend talking to such and such and such? And then, especially if that particular boyfriend or girlfriend is treating that friend better than that actual person. So I will say it's something that you really need to think about, but you should lean towards no because it'll just be toxic and it'll just lead to a whole bunch of drama and a whole family feud. So I would say no.
Oh, Jesus. I'm learning so much. Oh, Lord. Go ahead. Next. Next person, please.
And to piggyback off everybody else, it's pretty much like a respect thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that particular friend was willing to date you or that ex's person, they know your pros and cons of how not to hurt you and what to hurt you, especially because I've done it before. So they pretty much knew ways to basically, move around without getting caught, without actually hurting me, without figuring out things that the other person, that ex that I dated, did that hurted me. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was reassurance or just communication. Okay, I do this, but let me take it to this far. So they'll know that, okay, I'm not cheating or whatever the case may be, right? But it's also the fact that they don't respect their friend as well. If they willing to date you, they don't respect their own friend. So they pretty much ain't gonna respect you the same way. That's yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got.
Ooh,
Um, all that I was
ooh,
gonna say,
Jesus.
I couldn't, I just couldn't date my friends. It's just cause girl code. Because I don't want you thinking, I've been looking at your man while y'all was together, regardless of the situation. I just couldn't do it. So
Mm. Chin, you want to add anything, sir?
I mean, I'll just say like in my conscience and with my morals, I would not do that. Because I really would just feel like when I'm not around or if we're like in a bad spot, first of all, the friend gonna be mad with me, and the person I'm talking to, they just need to vent. So y'all gonna be up talking about me, and I'm just like, no, not going for that. So I wouldn't do it. I really don't see how people do that.
Mm.
I mean, if anybody in here has done that, I'm sorry, but I don't see how people do that.
Yeah, I most definitely. Oh, it's so much to collect here. Wow. And the crazy part is my best friend is on here. So, best friend, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. Okay, it's not gonna happen. Just in case you wanted to wonder, one of my best friends, she is on here. Alexis, she is on here. One of my good sisters, all of y'all are on here. Would not do it. But that's just me. And I think too, it just depends on how close you are with a person. I'm pretty much close with all y'all, so that would be like, I don't know. It just would make me feel uncomfortable. Um, have I did it in my before life? Oh. Mm. Can I be honest, y'all? Have I talked to two best friends? Yes. Wasn't intentional? No. Did it happen years after I talked to one best friend? It happened, you guys, like 5 years after the fact. So I say that to say him and this person, they were no longer best friends. So I don't know if it depends on the timeline of it just happened because at a point in time I wasn't looking at him like that. And even when we were talking, talking, because we never got into an actual full blown relationship. But when we were talking, I just kind of felt uncomfortable due to the fact that, things had transpired between me and this individual. So it made me most definitely look at it in a different light, being in the situation once I seen that we had this question. And so I would say most definitely after that experience, I would say no. Just because I just felt uncomfortable. And it wasn't nothing, wrong with that person. It was a me thing. I was like, okay, Kaitie, in my moral compass, do I feel like this is something that I really can put my best foot forward in? No. So will I do it now? Absolutely not, especially not when it comes to my best friends or my people I consider my sisters. I just think it's a line. And I think, like Chris said, out of respect, it's just certain things that be like, oh, you trying to look at me like that, boy, I spit in your face. That's just what type of timing I'm on when it comes to my close friends or my close sisters or my best friend. It's just don't even try it because it's not gonna happen. Um, so yeah, like I said, I've kind of been on both sides of the fence. So as you guys can see, my experience, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it at. It's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it at. Anybody else want to add anything before we move on? Anybody?
I would like to
All
add,
right.
I think that I think it's mainly something that happens when we're younger. When like friend groups usually interact with one another and everything like that. That's why my whole sense is like, okay, if we been adult-ish about it, like me and my homegirls, we don't even like the same type of guys. And honestly, like I think it's a girl code thing. I think is it D? I think that's what D, like basically what D was saying. Like, certain things are just girl code. First of all, I wouldn't even want my friends to feel like, oh, I don't want to bring her around the guys because she the type of, you know what I'm saying? And there's some girls that are like this. So a lot of things are really just code and principle. Like it principle. This is who I'm dating. If we don't date no more, he don't even exist no more. You get what I'm saying? Like we don't even bring his name up. So that whole line.
Mm, that's good. I really most definitely think all you guys' answers were very reasonable and explained very well. Very mature. Very, very, very mature. But yeah, that's our take, y'all. So yeah. All right. So next question. Can someone's boundaries or standards be too high for potential partners? And I think we talked about this a little bit in episode 2, but I guess they wanted us to allude and elaborate on what we said in episode 2. So, can someone's standards or boundaries be too high for potential partners? Anybody?
I'll just a short answer no. Um, if someone thinks your standards are too high, then they're just not on the level with the person that can't meet the standards. No one's wrong to have the standards that they have. They're just people that aren't meant to meet those boundaries and aren't meant to meet those standards. And that just is what it is.
Mhm. Right, next.
I agree. I feel like stand on what you stand on. And what I think that I find myself doing often, I want to encourage everybody listening and my the co-host is what like my other co-hosts. Write down what you require. Like know what you require walking into a relationship because I've been in a situation where I found myself settling. So know what you want. And I promise you, it may not be on your time, but if you're going to God and you say, God, I want a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's this, and that. I want her to have this, and that. And everybody has their nicks and necks. But if you have a list that makes sense and it's nothing crazy and far fetched like, oh, I want him to be tall and like no quality wise, you will get that. And you don't even have to look for it. Half of the time it's just gonna show up and you're gonna be least expecting it. So stand on what you stand on and it will come to you.
Piggybacking off of, is it Keontae? Um, you have, like, I feel like you have a set of standards for a reason, and like you said, it's not, maybe it's more of not the qualities like being tall, being this color, being that color, whatever, but the things that you will look for in a boyfriend or whatnot. Don't settle. You have standards for a reason, so just stick to it.
I think also to both of the points, um, the standards aren't just for the person, they're kind of also for you, because if you know what you bring to the table, you not letting anybody come to the table with something that's not matching what you're bringing. And I think that's something that's also important. Like, knowing your worth means that you're going to find somebody that's worth your time just as much as you're worth their time.
And I have to piggyback off that because I was just getting ready to say that. Yes, because I feel like your standards is basically who you are as your guideline. Is like, it's basically, like how you go to a restaurant and you pick off the menu and you tell them what you want. Okay, so your standards is basically telling you, okay, this is what I said, this is all about me. So I feel like as women, I'm gonna speak to the women in particular, like we cannot lower our standards because a guy is not gonna lower their standards. They're only gonna feed off what you allow. And same for guys, you the only way that you're gonna like allow certain things not to happen is when you cannot allow it. The only reason why you're getting the results that you're getting is because you allowing it. So you can't allow certain things and you have to mean it. Like as soon as you see something that you don't like, you gotta call it out right then. Because the more you let it fly, it's just gonna get worse and get out of hand. So I feel like no standard is too high. Like the ones that's like really like unrealistic, but I feel like you just gotta be firm and you gotta stand on it. And like everybody been saying, like the right one gonna come, but you gotta stand on your standards.
I 100% agree. I'm gonna say because I firsthand, I am one of those people who have trouble speaking up because it's a part of it. It stems from people pleasing. I would think that like, oh, I don't want to say anything, and I don't want him to not like me. Baby, now is if I see something I don't like, I'm gonna say something one time, and then if it, you don't even have to go according to how I feel. Okay, you're not the one. You just have to be firm and you have to be okay with knowing that you are the prize. Like, I mean, not even okay. You have to know and understand that you are the prize. I don't care how fine he is, she is. If it's not what you set out for yourself, don't settle because you only hurt you in the end.
To add a different perspective, I feel like some people's standards can be too high. Not disagreeing with none of y'all takes. I believe that if you got the right standards for yourself and understand yourself truly, then don't lower it at all. That goes for man or woman, especially to my black woman. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, understand that if you know what you bring to the table, whether it be financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, don't settle at all. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe that some people mistake them understanding themselves and feel like they should be able to take from a relationship because of what happened to their previous relationships. And they say, okay, well, I got hurt this way, so I'm gonna just up my standards without giving. You have to give and take at the same time because that's how cooperation works. And at least some ways in a relationship, you can't just take without giving. Because if you taking everything, the other person that you're dealing with is gonna eventually get tired of that. But like y'all said, understanding your values and staying firm on it. But I believe that some people do have some standards would it be too high? Because some dudes they'd be like, oh, I want a traditional woman who's gonna cook, clean, and be submissive towards me, but you ain't even doing the qualities for yourself to be a traditional man, and vice versa. There's some women that feel like, oh, I want to do that's gonna provide, but don't understand the fundamental basis when it comes to being a submissive woman as well. And so it's just really just about understanding yourself and then also standing firm in that. And also just giving that type of energy back out. What you put out is what you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much all I got for that.
I'll piggyback and say I definitely understand that perspective because I'm usually able to see things from multiple perspectives because one, I have done that before and I know exactly what you mean. Sometimes we ask for things. It's like studying, asking God, like, hey, I want to pass this test. Can I get an A? Have you even studied? You know what I'm saying? So you asking for things that you don't exactly qualify for, and it's okay to want certain things. But then I think what like how I'm picking up is make sure you do the self work first. Like make sure that's just like asking God for and a better or even better breakdown is just like asking God for something that you're not even ready, a blessing that you're not even ready to receive. But He will prepare you for it, and that's why I think to make both of them mesh is do the self work. Once you do the self work, understand where you are, write out those standards, and like as you grow, you'll get what you want eventually. So most definitely, I agree with you. I like that. I like that perspective. This is real.
I think to your point, like standards come with self reflection. Like you can't have accurate standards if you're not self aware. And I like Christian, what you said was very valid. Like a lot of people love saying they can smell other people without acknowledging that they have their own sins. And it's one of those things where it's like a standard isn't for other people. And that I look at it as standards are for yourself. Standards aren't about how you view other people, standards are how you view your own worth. And the moment you start lowering your standards is the moment you start telling yourself you're not worth what you're really worth. And I think to both of y'all's point, like to get to that point, you have to understand yourself. In like Kaitie and AR and Don, like with the episode that we were talking about last time, like people don't take enough time some of the time to do that work to figure out who they are, to really set accurate standards to who they are as individuals. So I think that that is a very valid and interesting perspective.
Wow, wow, wow. That was good. I'm just sitting back here just enjoying it. Y'all really on the daggone thing. I will say my point of view on it. Um, I feel like it just depends on the person. I think throughout life, it's something that my mom said to me when I was, telling her about the different questions. And she was like, you do realize that sometimes your standards with your life experiences, with your relationship experiences, the same thing that you may like now in your 20s, you're not gonna like in your late 50s. So I think we most definitely need to understand that some people are seasonal too. And I think sometimes we always try to sometimes push potential partners in certain seasons where they don't belong. Because at the end of the day, like Daniel, like we were saying season two, it really comes with a sense of self-awareness on where you are. And this goes back with what I said too, being honest about where you are. Because some people they say, okay, this is my standard, this is my boundary, that's standard third. But is that where you are? So if the roles were reversed, is that something that you can do? You asking it of me, but is that really something that you can do? So I think that goes back with just the being honest and being self-aware on where you are. I never feel like I've ever, I know for me, talked to somebody who I didn't think or who didn't meet the requirement. And that just goes back to what I said episode two. Some people do not need to make it past the talking stage. Can we normalize that? We need to stop letting people go past the talking stage. If you know that person is giving you red flags or that person is always questioning your expectation for them, and it's not something that's causing them to jump off a bridge, let's normalize with letting those people go. Or maybe you're just supposed to be a good friend for right now. Um, so yeah. And I know D can attest to this in episode one, where Mia was saying, right person, wrong timing. That is true. But in a realistical timeline, this person is literally every red flag that you said you wouldn't accept. And no, those are wrong people. Wrong people, period. It's not a timeline. A time, a wrong time, right person would be that person literally is picture perfect in your eyes, and you're just not necessarily in that same space as that person is in. So I say that to say it is right person, wrong timing. But we just have to start calling it what it is with some people, that your standard is low. So that's why you expect me to have a low standard. My standard is mid, and that's where it's going to stay. And, so just so that we don't have to cross those paths or go down those roads that we have no business going down. Because I can say for me, some of my exes I should have never talked to. And I can say that now with a straight face and not be like, what? Like, why would you say that? Some people, like I said, should have just never, ever passed the talking phase. But we here, you live, you learn. That's the thing about life. Preferably, God continues to give us all continuance to continue it. But I will say, let's just start normalizing that your standards are your standards, and it's okay to stick by your standards, because the experiences at the end of the day, the experience that you have had when it came to lowering your standards, when it came for your standards at a point in time to be too low for the people that we run into. So you do what you got to do what you have to do, and like Daniel said, that right person will come. At the end of the day, that right person will come, but it's up to you also to know when that person is the right person, and that comes through prayer and time. Comes through the two. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Y'all are killing it. Anybody else want to add anything before we move on? No. Okay. All right. No. Okay. All right. So next one, you guys, somebody sent us a scenario. They actually are giving us all the pieces. I think this is the first question of the season that somebody actually sent all the pieces. So I know who you are. Thank you for that. Because half of the time we be working off of half of the air. All right. So the scenario is everybody listening. It's a long little spiel. All right, somebody said, I feel like all me and my boyfriend do is have sex and nothing else. I have talked to him about it, but nothing seems to change. And it doesn't seem like he wants to do anything with his life. Ooh, Shay. But I'm about to be a doctor the semester after next. Do you think he is using me, and how should I handle the situation? Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh,
I'm gonna go first. Piggybacking off of what missionary Kaitie said, I'm gonna say it one time. I brought it to your attention so that you know what's up. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm observing. Hopefully she done prayed about it. She need to go ahead and pray about it and say, God, what's the next move? But I can't say that he's just using you for sex. But I feel like y'all, if you haven't already, you need to go ahead and have a conversation like, boom. If you don't step up to the plate and make something of yourself, like, this is what I have going on. Right now, we're not equally yoked at all. So I need you to meet me where I'm at. I'm not saying you need to be a doctor too, but you need to be making some progression. So, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I've done it before. And the best thing she can do is leave. No if, ands, or buts. Because this, huh?
ASAP, no Rocky.
ASAP, no Rocky. Because okay, this goes back to the last question when we say we set our standards. If you got to know what you want, first of all, yeah, like she just said, we are not even equally yoked. I'm not saying you do not have to be a millionaire, but baby, you got to be working towards something. You have to
Something.
be working towards something, literally. Okay, and then this is my thing here. Dating is so important. But people, I mean, let me not say people. This generation is so big on, I don't know where the sexual desires and drive comes from, but literally, it is okay to keep that to you. It is okay because everybody don't deserve it. And honestly, I ain't never been too happy about a bubbling stomach and being sexually satisfied. Like, at the end of the day, you can't even feed me, but I can do that myself. I'm keeping PG-13, but I can do that myself, and I can do bad all by myself, baby. The best thing you can do is leave. I've done it, and the best thing you can do is leave because he's not going to get it right on your time. He's going to get it right on his time. You can break it down, spin it, write it down. God can even sign off on it, and he's not going to get it until you know.
Okay, I'm gonna add.
Like,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna add to it. Yeah, it goes back to your standards. You gotta have your standards. You gotta lay that thing out because if not, that was gonna happen. And it goes back to sometimes you just gonna have to wait. You're just gonna have to wait to not go there with sex because y'all know the saying. If you doing wifey things, what's the sense him getting you the ring? What's the sense him doing certain things? If you already giving it to him, he's not gonna do nothing. If you're not sitting there putting fire behind him, you're not setting any standards. There's no expectation. Where is there something for him to, you know, show you? There's no progress gonna be made because of that. And see, now you in school, you doing great things, and all he looking for is for you to open your legs and just sit at home. And that's not what we want. So my thing is you just gotta set your standards. And and it's all right if y'all can't go there no more for sex. Because at this point that's all it seemed like. It seemed I hate to say it, but it's all it seemed like. And we're not doing that because if that's the case, you can get paid for doing that. If you're gonna open your legs. So, we don't want to make it seem like that. So at this point, you're just gonna have to set your standards. And then once you set your standards, then if he's not gonna move, and I'm gonna be honest, most guys they're not gonna do it. They only going to do it just to please you. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you know now. You're gonna have to ask him two questions: is you gonna do it for me, or is you gonna do it for you? That's how my 10 they're gonna do it for you, and we don't want that because what's gonna happen, they're gonna lash out back on you in another 2 to 3 weeks or months because they're doing it to please you and not for themselves.
mm-hmm.
So what's best gonna happen? You're just gonna have to let it go. Let the soul tie go. Go ahead and cry. Go ahead and do whatever you gotta do to get over. He ain't gonna do it for you. I'm sorry. That 9 times out of 10, he's not gonna do it for you. And if he do that,
oh Jesus! If I had weave, it would be itching. Cause what? Oh my God! This my right here, y'all. My hair, y'all see my hair done grow. See, but anyway. Side note: anybody else, guys? Y'all are mighty quiet. I need y'all to represent for the guys right now. Cause ladies, y'all are up +10. What?
Okay, I got one more thing before the guys start. I
Mm,
think our generation has normalized sticking together through the thick and thin, the up and downs and stuff. But if you're not doing what you need to do, the up and down is me doing everything. You're down, I'm
okay.
up. All right, y'all go.
Right. We not Bonnie and Clyde. That's a movie. We talking about real life. I'm sorry. What are we doing?
Riding in the car with no gas.
Oh,
Baby, and then you asking me for gas. This a new thing. Now they love to ask me for what? What? Guys, I'm sorry. This is just y'all go
yeah,
ahead.
it's just
Cause
personal at
baby,
this
I got
point.
something to say. Baby, I got a story to tell. What Candy said on BET? I got a story to tell. All right, guys, y'all are up. Jesus. If Chan don't have nothing to add, y'all are up.
No,
What
I
you
was
like?
just gonna say she need to leave him alone, and it ain't no reason to over talk it. She just need to leave him alone. Period.
Oh, guys. Oh, Jesus. There you look like I gotta pray about what to even say. right, y'all up.
All right. Wow. First of all, I like to generally apologize to that lady that's going through that situation. I'm gonna pray for her. Uh, I'm sorry that guy is treating you wrong on behalf of the male general population. That's not us. That's strictly on him. But to answer that question, what I'm feeling more in that passage that we listened to and what Caitlin just spoke, I'm hearing more lust. And what I think is going on is, you know, he think he's the man up in here, but he's not providing nothing on the table for her in order for her to grow and stuff. You can't just sit on your behind. I want to say the word, but because that really irritated me. But anyway, you can't just think you good in a relationship wise, you know, feeling her desires, your desires, and think everything is peachy. We're at an age now where we're in our 20s, 21s, graduating. We've been in the real world. So we have to provide for each other when it comes to, you know, a future house, future careers, children, whatever. And so I just think the lady just needs to, and being the kind hearted person I am, this is my opinion. If I was the girl, I would sit down and have one last communication or one last talk with her. And if I don't feel any direction, like we're going forward or we're not trying to strive to push each other, if you're not trying to go out and go get a job, if you're not trying to better yourself, for me to put a smile on my face to better the both of us, then it's just time for us to move on. And God is actually, it's sometimes, I think, in my opinion, once again, I think God is actually giving you signals and whatnot. It can be through a dream, it can be through when you're walking somewhere. It'll give you signals when it's time for you to move on or when it's actually just take time with that person. But I feel like in this particular situation, you just need to have one last talk because it sounds like the person is just he doesn't have it together. He just don't have his head screwed on right. He's probably whether physically have some bad influences or whatever. I just feel it's just not the right man for her at this particular moment, especially if she's going to be a nurse and a doctor. And I heard that you're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of dedication to that. So why would I want my girlfriend, my wife, coming home to a man that's just sitting on his butt and not actually producing for his family, trying to actually help produce money for the both of us, you know? So I would say one last talk and then just move on from there. And once again, I'm so sorry for that man treating you so wrong. I'm so sorry.
I wish I could snap.
Yeah, there's a few things that Don said that stood out to me. In Don, I think you're a great dude. However, I have to disagree with that last part. Only because in everything that you've said, I agree with you. I'm there with you. We're here. But for what I'm hearing, it sounds like she's had conversations. Now, I've been in a relationship where I had 3 conversations with said person, and we talked about this in in episode 2. I had 3 conversations with said person, asked if there was anything that I could do to adjust, to switch, to make things work. Wasn't clicking. And I think there gets to a point where we have to acknowledge that some people just are not meant to be together. And she wants to be a nurse. She wants to take care of her patients, not her partner. And it sounds like it's getting to a point where she's coming home or coming back to a space where it's meant to be comforting, and she's doing more things than are being done or being met equally. And I loved D when you brought up not being equally yoked. I feel like not enough people talk about it and get into what that really means. Because equally yoked doesn't mean you necessarily have to have the same income or the same or the same lifestyle, but the intention has to be the same. You might not have the same salary that I have because maybe I started my career 3 years before you, but you want to get there. That's very different than just being where I am and being fine where I am, and you're over here and you're happy where you are. Well, let's be happy where we are separately, because that has nothing to do with what you want to do, and it has nothing to do with what I want to do. And Some people have a hard head and it makes for a soft butt. And the only way he's going to find out that you're serious is if he has to fall on it by himself. Because the moment that you start leaving, people start switching. People love making people feel like you're doing things to become better. So the only thing that I would say to her in my last thing is, if you're going to leave, you have to stand 10 toes down on it and not backtrack. Because someone can make it look real good for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, a year. But if you don't actually give time for something to change, you're going to end up in that same situation. And the thing about being unequally yoked is, one is pulling more than the other. You're going to end up going in circles. And you don't want that. And I'll leave it there.
I'll also say this one thing, I'm gonna let Chris go. I just think that the dude or boyfriend, whatever that she called him, I think it's like he's an anchor to what she's trying to actually do for herself. And so, and I'm kind of glad that you disagree with it, because I had to think about it, and you're right. She did have conversations. She did sit down mentally, spiritually, talk to God about it. And it's just like she's been dragged down. She's been held back because you never know what that person could be doing outside of her trying to be a nurse. Maybe she got to cook. Maybe she got to clean. Maybe she got to do everything around her. Maybe the dude could be lazy. So, yeah, so forget what I said about the last conversation. You just have to move forward with it.
Everybody nailed it on the coffin. So, like, pretty much all I gotta say is it goes back to what we all been saying: self-awareness, knowing yourself, and respecting your standards as you should go. Like, you didn't talk to this man countless times, did this and did that. Now it's up to you. Like everybody else been saying, put fire behind that. You gotta understand, like, hey, I can't do this no more. Like, I don't want to just be used as some type of sexual pleasure or some type of bargaining tool that you can get off riches because you know I'm gonna be a doctor. But it's also like, if you're not gonna change it, then what's the point of even complaining about it? At the same time, like, I know everybody up in here will probably say it right now. Like, you got like probably once or twice, and after that it's over with. OV, like, I'm not gonna talk to you no more about a situation that we didn't. I didn't kind of try to talk to you multiple times. I didn't talk to God about it. I didn't did this. After a while, it's just, I'm gonna let you just go. Like, I can't do this no more. Like, because after a while, it just becomes repetitive. And like Keontae said, it's all about just being understanding yourself, being able to say that, okay, well, we're not together, we're not equally yoked, like also address it, not being equally yoked with each other. So it's like, I'm not going to continue going down the same path over and over and talking to you over and over again like you some child. Like, we grown, let's be grown, let's be adults, let's handle this. Like, there's no way that I'm gonna just be sitting there letting my girlfriend do all these amazing things. I'm just sitting in the background. Like, I can't even do that. Like, I wouldn't even feel right as a man doing that. Like, my father ain't even raised me like that. Like, why would I wouldn't even want my own daughter, if I did have one, to want to be used in that type of way. So of course, like, anything of that, like, you shouldn't even like have that type of standard where you should just be like, okay, well, I'm gonna just deal with it because he's my boyfriend. I love him. Like, as much as you love him, you should also love yourself more, because at the end of the day, like, you the one that's dealing with it. You have to go through this, and you know what I mean. Once that self-awareness comes in, once you actually understand yourself a little bit more, you'll know, and there'll be somebody right there to find you. As soon as you fall off your feet, there'll be another person coming right back up to get you.
Oh,
Um,
oh, oh.
I want to say this for
Y'all go ahead.
I got three little key points. That goes back to selling and your standards. You know what you want, just stick to that. Second thing, it sounds like he's leeching. He's a leech, and y'all know this song say he's yeah. And the third thing, I want you to pray this prayer, boo. Pray this prayer. Like my auntie told me, this is God that I was into. She told me pray this prayer. that it's love and not lust. You continuously
Ooh.
pray that prayer, and because within like 2-3 days, everything was revealed. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Ooh. Ooh.
And
Ooh.
Go ahead,
I'm
guys.
sorry. Just one thing. I'm sorry. Because I've heard the term lust a lot in referencing this point, and lust is a very real thing, but so is comfort, and people will do a lot for lust.
Ooh.
And people, when you're comfortable, you're stagnant. And so I firmly believe there's a point where there was lust and there was a thing, and there may still be some lust in there, but I think comfort is starting to set in a lot more, and that's a lot more dangerous than lust can ever be. But I
Ooh. And lust is one of the seven
mm-hmm.
deadly sins if you're reading your Bible, sis. So very much it is stories in it. See, because people think in real life we built these stories. No, baby, they in the Bible. I'm sorry. That them stories is in there. That's a key point of what it could turn out to lust. It is, I will quote, one of the seven deadly sins. Literally. I cannot push that to you. Push that to you so seriously. I will say, sis, because your girl is about to be in law school to be a lawyer. Um, Most definitely will say I had to get rid of a leech, as D can say. And he knows who I'm talking to, so I don't have to direct it towards anybody. Because that's just how I am. I will say this, that if it's becoming a problem now, it's going to become a problem later. And what we have to stop doing is marrying people with problems now and wonder why it's a problem later. I will say this to say, my pastor, we're doing a relationship series at our church. And one thing that he said that stuck out to me when he talked about sex, he said, we will test drive. Why is sex always the first thing that our generation wants to test drive? You don't want to test drive this person has anger. You don't want to test drive this person how they talk to their mama. You don't want to test drive anything how this person is with their finances. You don't even want to test out this person how they talk to people. How do they carry themselves? Is their hygiene even good? We don't want to test out those things, but the first thing that we always want to test is somebody sexually. You ignore the blind spots now, it will cost you later. So, sis, I will say that to say, instead of you ignoring the blind spots now, before it costs you later, go ahead and turn in that car back to the dealership and tell them this was not an as is car. So I need that warranty to go ahead and give me another one. Mhm. And be okay with that. I don't. I guess we're gonna have to push this so much this series. Be okay with that. I don't know why I have to keep saying that. Maybe it's just a guy just telling me. Just tells my be okay with your decision. Um, like Dan says, stand on it, 10 toes down. You don't have to be ugly about it, but I don't know. Maybe that's just the type of person you deal with because different people require different levels of telling you. I'm learning though to not get so out of character because then you get out of character, then what? This person's gonna still be the same person they gonna be. So I have learned to let go of people in a graceful manner. Um, but also don't get it twisted. Kaitie say plenty. Kaitie says plenty, but you have to make sure that this person understands that this is it if that's what you want to do. Um, and prayerfully, like I said, you spend more time with God so that you can realize that it's not for you. Um, and then maybe one day, shoot, if he said he get a job, sis, maybe you need to pat him on the back. It's just so many different things that you can do. Separated. So I will say continue to be the great person that you are, because I know that you are a great person. But let go of that leech, as DeAndrea says. She said it so. See if I could be that. See if I could say stuff in such a classy manner. Let the leech go, sir, because leeches hurt, and when they keep saying, yeah, they drain you of everything. So make sure you ask us how should you handle the situation. I want to say so many wrong words, but just let them go. That's just the best, the nicest way I can put it. Just let them go, cause it's only gonna get worse. Take it from me. Take it from me, who talked to a guy that had nothing going for himself, didn't want to do nothing. Sis, if I had the time to tell you the story, which if it's you, just DM me, we'll talk. But I would tell you, it only gets worse from there, and it's only gonna agitate you even more from there. Um, so yeah, keep being a great you, but let them go. Yeah. So yeah. All right.